Welcome to the One Shot Podcast. Today we got a special episode, a little bit of a different episode for you guys. So we were at the Super Bowl with Sleep Number a couple of weeks ago, and if you've ever heard about, seen anything about Radio Row, it's a massive congregation of media folks from all across the country. Athletes are coming in and out, celebrities are coming in and out. It's an awesome, awesome experience. And so, like I said, we were up there as a team a couple weeks ago with Sleep Number, and we were able to interview and interact with a handful of guys. And so today's episode, I guess the other part of Radio Row is all these athletes have just a little bit of amount of time. It's not like a full podcast. They can hang out for an hour and a half. They're usually running from booth to booth, doing their different media interviews. So the three interviews we decided to just go ahead and put them to one episode. They're all about 10 minutes apiece. We talked to Zach Ertz, who is the tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. He's had an unbelievable career. He was with the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time. Actually won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and that was kind of cool. We got to learn a little bit about that, learn a little bit about his story. That was fun. Then we also interviewed a guy named Andrew Sendejo, who played for the Minnesota Vikings for a long time. He was actually one of Tyler's teammates in the UFL before they both made it to the NFL. So that was a really cool story as well, kind of an underdog mentality type guy. So that was fun. And then rounded out with the legend Gary Vee, who is a notorious New York Jets fan. He has a lifelong goal of owning the New York Jets one day. So we get to talk a little bit about the New York Jets, and then we finish it with a question just about NFL as a business overall, and just his thoughts why the NFL is so successful as a business, because he's the business guy, business mind, marketing mind. So again, didn't have a significant amount of time with any of these guys, but we did feel like it was powerful in the 10 or 15 minutes that we did have with them, and so we thought it would be best to pack them all into one episode, get you 30 minutes of value from three different perspectives all in one. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. We have another couple of great episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks. We got to speak to the CEO of Sleep Number, as well as one of the heads of the American Cancer Society. That was a really powerful, more traditional podcast episode that'll come up here in a few weeks. And then we got to talk to the newly enshrined Hall of Famer DeMarcus Ware, who also has an awesome story. We were able to sit down with him for a couple of minutes. So again, very amazing week. Got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people, and I think you guys are going to enjoy these next couple of episodes because they were really, really cool. Again, different bit. We were outside of our studio, so I guess just a house cleaning item. We were outside of our studio, so forgive us a little bit for the audio. It wasn't perfect, but I think it was good enough for you guys to get still the full value of these episodes. So bear with us a little bit on the not so ideal scenarios that we had there. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, please share the podcast. That's the best way you can help us grow this thing, is by sharing it, texting it to a buddy, posting it on Instagram, following us on all of our social media. That really helps us out more than you know. We appreciate the support. We love you guys so much. Please enjoy these interviews with Zach Ertz, Andrew Sendejo, and of course the legend Gary Vee. Enjoy, guys. Thanks. Repeat that. Your Sleep Number setting is what?
It's 100, and I actually bumped it down 3 points to like 97 because my wife was giving me such a hard time about how firm my side of the bed was. It's like a 97 right now, but I do like my bed extremely firm. I think this would be like a good comparison.
Yeah. Dude, just sleep on the floor.
I was going to say.
So if you don't know, if you're listening, we're here with Zach Ertz, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. We're talking about a Sleep Number score. So the bed has a setting, and the higher the number, the more firm the bed is. And 100 is the highest you can go. So literally our man right here is sleeping on the floor at night, pretty much.
Yeah, a brick. I don't know about that.
What are you?
That's I'm a 45.
Yeah, I'm a 40.
50. I'm 50.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
so I went up.
Your guys' back
I moved up.
good?
It feels great.
Yeah.
Are
you a back sleeper or a side sleeper?
Side. So I sleep
sleeper.
on my side, yeah.
And your hip doesn't hurt in the morning?
No.
Dang.
I still got those young joints,
That's what I'm telling you, man. These tight ends are weird, dude.
Hey.
Tight ends are weird that way, though. See,
tight ends
versus
the
least
athletic players on the field over
that's
here.
That's the toughest man here, 100. What are you, 40, 30, something like that?
Exactly.
Actually, they try to say, according to research, that sleeping on the floor is actually good for you.
Yeah.
So
I must have read that research
you
a long time ago.
Yeah, as a young child.
Yeah. Which that's actually a good lead into what we want to talk about is just performance, sleep overall, how important it is. For you, how old are you now?
32.
32. Okay. So you're in the 30s now.
Yep.
So getting up there in age. So how has your performance, how has your recovery, all that, how has that changed from when you first got in the league at 22?
Yeah.
So over the last 10 years, how's that changed?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously changed a lot. And before I injured my knee this year, this was the best I felt playing football in pretty much my entire career. And I think as a player, especially early in your career, there's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what you don't know, so you're just throwing things at the wall, see what works, see what doesn't work. And I feel like I've been in this routine for so long, and sleep is to me the most important area of my recovery. And if I don't get a good night's sleep, I can feel it the next day and the following day. So we make sure, I mean, my wife's an athlete as well, so she knows the benefits of sleep. And so as a family, we really prioritize our sleep because we know the benefits that it's going to have, not only immediately the next day, but also going forward.
It's so funny how it's changed over the years. Even when you came into the league, there was still a little bit of that like Iron Man mentality, right?
Yeah.
Like no sleep, I'll sleep, Russ Wilson's deal, right? Like no time to sleep. Well, you probably should, especially at that high elevation, Russ. But so how is like the training for you changed over the years? Like in the methodology, it changing from when you came into the league to now. You mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much change. Obviously, I went to Stanford. We had an amazing strength coach, and he prioritized functional strength. He was never a guy that was killing us, was just loading us with as much weight as possible.
You mean you didn't have the squat deep and pulling his life T-shirt everywhere you went?
Yeah, we did 10 by 10 every workout. That's what we did.
So I was very blessed to have an amazing strength coach in college. And so all those lessons that I learned in college, I knew my body felt great going into the league. And so when I got to Philly and some of the things that they were doing maybe weren't best for me, I was able to have conversations like, hey, I've never really done this before. I'm not trying to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I wake up after your guys' workouts and I feel terrible. Can we please just discuss?
Chuck, tell me you didn't have your conversation your rookie year. Did you have that conversation with the strength coach?
Yeah, I don't think they were big fans of that as a rookie coming in there. But yeah, it was a conversation that had to be had.
Right.
All right. So Zach, talk to us. We're here at the Super Bowl. You had an incredible run with the Eagles a couple years back for the Super Bowl. Talk about what this week means like to a player. I mean, the accumulation of an entire career of work. What does this week mean?
Yeah, I mean, as a player going through it, you want to be hyper-focused on the game. There's so many things pulling at you in different directions going into the week. You have 2 weeks from the NFC Championship when we played to the Super Bowl. So that first week when we were in Philly, we had the whole game plan in. So we essentially practiced the whole game plan that entire week. And then the following week, it was almost like the coaches going back and forth, seeing what they liked, seeing what they wanted to add for that second week. So really by the time the game started, we were so dialed in on the actual game plan, but I had to have a bunch of conversations just with family members, with my agent, like, hey, I'm not focused. This isn't some experience for me.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked my whole life to get to this point. I've been blessed to be able to play in this game. Like, everything that you guys want to worry about, you can talk to my wife if you have an issue. Julie will filter out what's important.
She will say no for me. She will say who gets tickets, who doesn't get tickets.
Exactly. And so you just have to make the game the priority because nothing else matters at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was able to be up front, and I got an amazing family that were very receptive to that. But it doesn't really hit you until you get on the field, and you have like 7 different TV companies all around the field to start the game. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's here, and it's time to go.
And by the way, you're playing against Brady on the opposite side of the field. Look, so what was that tunnel walk like for you? Because I remember playing my first and walking down that tunnel and almost getting emotional before I hit the field. What was that walk going towards the field like?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's special. And I think just being around as the veterans, kind of leaders on the team, you kind of walk out first, They're not introducing individual players at that point. We're going out as a team. So, like, we had our group of guys that had been together 5-6 years at that point. We were all kind of standing there at the front together. And it was kind of cool and surreal just to see how far we come, you know.
Yeah.
We've been through so much. in my time in Philly the first 5 years. And so it was kind of surreal, and that's definitely a memory that I'll never forget, is just being in that tunnel, waiting to run out onto the field, and just being around all my guys.
Yeah. Ty, did you hear that subtle flex by Darren, by the way? He said my first.
My first.
Yeah,
first one.
I know that.
Yeah, just whatever.
I asked the Super Bowl champion a question.
We're just going to shut up over here.
Yeah, we
keep talking.
We have something in common.
We only got 5 minutes left. Are you done with your football question?
No, I got one more.
you're
I got
right.
one more. All right,
gosh.
so Philly special, obviously a big-time moment in Super Bowl history. So why did you call heads with you and Trey? Why did he get the chance to throw that and you didn't?
That's a great question. Trey was a quarterback in college, so he automatically got first chance. But the funny part about that play is I don't know if we ever actually completed it when we were going full speed.
Wow.
So, like, the first week, I think it was installed, like, the first week of the playoffs, and it didn't look good, so it didn't get called against the Falcons that year. Against the Vikings, it really didn't look good. And so it was still on the back burner. And then when we got to Minnesota, everyone was so paranoid about everything. Are the cameras here? Are the cameras there? Not to mention who we were going against. But that's beside the fact. But so the only time we actually threw it was in a walkthrough going into that game.
Yeah.
And so Trey didn't fail. He did a great job. But the funny part about that play is we had a play called prior to that. And the play clock was running down. It was just some basic inside zone handoff. And the play clock was running down, so they called a timeout.
Yeah.
So we all go back to the sideline, you're getting water or whatever. And they changed the play to the Philly special. And we're all like walking up onto the field like, what?
Wait.
Wow.
Yeah, so that
we're not good at this one yet.
Yeah.
We've never completed this.
Yeah. So it was it's definitely a surreal kind of amazing play.
All right, so speaking of surreal and amazing, you are a new father.
Yeah.
Had a little boy during right before last season, right?
Yeah, in August, yep.
So 6 months, how has that transition been from – I mean, listen, I never want to say injuries are good, but it did allow you probably some more time at home.
Yeah, I mean, everyone tells you going into being a dad how amazing it is, but even those words, there's no words to really describe the feeling it is to be a dad and holding your son for the first time. And Julie's a stud as a mom, so it's been so much fun seeing her grow during this. But it is as amazing as the experiences that football has given me. Played at a Super Bowl, won a lot of games. Nothing's better than being a dad.
Yeah.
I come home, he doesn't care how my knee feels. He doesn't care how my day went. He just wants to be around me and be my son.
Yeah.
And obviously he's so young. I think he's starting to grasp who I am consistently.
Yeah.
But
you don't feed him yet, so it's like I don't need you yet.
Yeah, exactly. So every now and then I get a bottle to give him, and that's a special time.
Yeah.
But it is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So I got to ask, are you changing?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm home,
You're changing.
I try to make a point to change diapers.
There you go.
for you.
There you go,
Yeah,
Zach.
my wife does a lot of
Yeah,
them, so
yeah.
when I'm home and available, I try to do as many as I can.
That first diaper change
Oh
is
my
a
gosh.
humbling moment.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
It was Ben's first and last diaper that changed.
Yeah, no more. 3 kids later, no more. You're some big, you're a big shot NFL player, but he don't care. I mean, you got to
he's not
change his
care.
diaper, and there's no studs when you change a diaper.
Exactly.
Last question, just curious. I know he's young, but as you look forward in raising your son and hopefully future kids as well, I'm sure, what are some foundational principles? What are some attributes that you hope to instill in your kid?
Yeah, we're going deep on
As
it.
That
he
is a
grows?
question.
Yeah.
Deep,
And
bro.
you got
30 seconds.
30 seconds go.
I mean, obviously, my faith is a big part of my wife and I's life. So our love for Jesus, hopefully, God willing, is going to
Amen,
be
brother.
Yep.
a main key, the biggest key in his life. And so if we can do one thing right, we pray every day that's the one thing that we're able to leave him with. But also just be a nice person. There's so many people. We're not going to be those parents as 2 athletes, 2 people that probably in Pee-wee and high school thought we were better than we were. We're not going to be these helicopter parents yelling at refs saying they need to do a better job. We just want him to have fun and enjoy it. And whatever he's passionate about, I hope he goes 110 miles an hour for it.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I have a 6-year-old son. I said the same thing. I'm not going to be the dad that's yelling and there's something happens, man. I'm telling you, that first game.
I've got some videos of him
Something
coaching
happens.
soccer, a bunch of 5-year-old soccer players.
Yeah.
It was straight Will Ferrell.
We're running, if we don't win, we're running suicide. Okay.
I'm sure that would be me or Julie. I can't tell who.
It's hard to turn it off. It's hard to turn it off.
It's a good mentality to start with.
Yeah.
So, man, we appreciate you so much. I know we didn't have much time. Hopefully we can get you on again some other point. But, man, best of luck to you in the rehab. ACL injuries, I know it sucks. I've been through that myself, and man, best of luck, man. We appreciate you coming.
It was a great time, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate your passion for the Lord, brother.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to take a quick break and thank our partners, Sleep Number, and highlight a couple things they're doing. Guys, these Sleep Number beds are unreal. The technology that they've created, the feedback that it gives you on your sleep. I've got the app opened up right here. They tell you things like your heart rate variability, your breathing rate, all these type metrics and feedback to give you so that you can improve your quality of sleep. They're all over the place. You can go and check yourself out at Sleep Number store wherever you live. Go to sleepnumber.com as well. They've got great resources on there. We just talked about this not too long ago. They have a whole blog section, all these articles, things that you can improve your health. Sleep Number is definitely changing the game when it comes to betting. So get yourself to Sleep Number, get yourself to sleepnumber.com, and check them out. Now back to the episode.
I'm really, really excited. I got to run into an old teammate of mine, Andrew Sendejo, longtime Viking safety, played for the Eagles, the Colts, Browns. He made his rounds, but really, again, established himself from a really unique journey from the start and not getting drafted, and we're going to get more into that here in a little bit. But man, thank you for coming up and saying what's up. Andrew, man, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, excited to have you.
Yeah.
Talk us through the next few months after graduating.
Yeah, so I was hurt. I got hurt my senior year. I don't know if I would have gotten drafted if I didn't get hurt. Who knows, right? Went to 2 rookie minicamp tryouts, and you know, when you don't know how the league works, you're like, man, I'm definitely getting signed in one of these. Yeah. No chance, right? You're like one of 100 people, and they don't even care.
You mean the 3 reps that you got, you didn't turn all the heads?
Yeah, exactly. So went to 2 tryouts, didn't get signed, obviously, and then the UFL was around, and the coach who was trying to recruit me to the Sacramento Mountain Lions was Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I think this is a better option than going to Canada. It's all NFL coaches, guys that played at these big schools, guys that just got released from these teams in the league. So I was like, and I don't have to go to Canada. I can go to California. Cool. Did that. Was lucky enough to play well in the 8 games that we had.
A little background. You mentioned there's NFL guys. So Dante Culpepper was our quarterback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Denny Green was our head coach.
Rest in peace.
And I mean, just like honestly, Titans, like big time people, and we got to experience that. And that was something that was so cool because it was run like an NFL organization because that's what they did. Mm-hmm. And Mike McDaniel's, same. I didn't realize he had recruited you. He's the one that convinced me to move to fullback.
Okay.
From linebacker.
Jeez.
And so that's the reason I moved to fullback was Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Well, now, obviously, head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Dennis Green, you know, I think just from he showed you what it was like to play pro ball. I remember guys were late to meetings, cut like right away. And that's when I learned early. Right. You know, you're early to these meetings. Not all the time, you got to be early.
Yep.
So I was thankful that I got to experience that right from the jump. And then out of the UFL, got picked up to Dallas for the rest of the 2010 season.
And were you active?
I was active for a couple of games. I think maybe 2 of the last 6 games or something like that.
So crazy deal is the UFL had this agreement with the NFL that you could sign players to practice squad and it wouldn't cost you anything. But if you sign them to the active roster within that season, they'd pay like $100,000 to the UFL team.
I don't remember.
So they had to pay the Sacramento Mountain Lions to put you on the field.
Wow. So, yeah, I was on practice squad like the first week, which makes sense now.
Yeah.
I got signed literally the week of the Thanksgiving game. So I signed, and then like the next day I was in the stadium on Thanksgiving watching the game, and I'm like, holy cow, like this is the league. Like, in Dallas, obviously a Texas boy, like grew up in San Antonio. Boys were on, see you guys playing all the time. And so it was pretty surreal. And I think even my first active play was I was like the L1 on kickoff, and it was against the Eagles on like Sunday Night Football. And I didn't even know that was that big of a game because I don't know anything. I'm just like trying to survive out there, right? I think I run down on kickoff. I like fold in. I just dive at the guy's legs, and it happened like that. Like I literally was like, oh my gosh, like this is so fast. Like the whole kickoff that probably lasted 12 seconds, it felt like 1 second, right?
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. And then after Dallas, went to the Jets for just a little bit, and then got picked up in Minnesota in the middle of my second year in 2011, and was lucky enough to stick there for a while. Kind of had 2 careers almost where I was just a special teams guy.
Yeah.
Which I was.
You were returning punts too, didn't you? Return punts? Did you catch them?
You're thinking of Urlacher.
No.
I did return punts in college, and actually in the preseason in Dallas, I was like the 3rd or 4th string punt returner, and I was like, please God, do not put me back there.
Don't call my name. Do not call my name.
Literally, I think we were playing at that time. We were playing San Diego in a preseason game, and Cypher, I believe, was the punter. This dude had an absolute leg, and I was like, if that guy punts it to me, I'm not gonna be able to catch it. It's like just up in the forever, right?
Yeah, just immediately as it comes off his foot, just point at it. I'm not catching it.
Or like I would like try to I don't know, the lights or something. Anything I could do to not have to return a punt. So yeah, I was a special teamer my first couple years in Minnesota, and I was happy. I was like, shoot, that's my niche, playing special teams. Do whatever you can, and then finally kind of got an opportunity to play defense. Worked my way in Zim's defense, which is extremely complicated, which it played in my favor because a lot of guys didn't get the looks because they'd go in and they'd mess up, and then he would just take you right out.
Right.
And so because I was able to, memorize everything and know what to do, he trusted me, and that's like half the battle is the coaches just got to trust you to put you in the game. And then, my last half of my career was as a starter, and then the last year or two, they're like, all right, this guy's a vet and he can play special teams and defense, so you just added a lot of value, and I was cheap, so it was like I
was gonna say even at that veteran minimum, they're still trying to cut fat wherever they can, but the more you can do, that's why I totally get it. It's like I had to be a long snapper, backup tight end, I had to do everything,
and I totally
just to keep a job.
That's right, and I know Zim well enough, and I had conversations with Zim back then when you came on, and he was telling me, he said he's just a dude, like he's smart enough to pick up the system, and he'll make plays for me. And it was like that simple,
right?
For Zim,
and he'll come down and smack you in the mouth too.
He's gonna MF you.
Yeah.
And if you can't deal with him MFing you, then you got a problem, right?
Oh yeah, I think when it's kind of you had to earn your right to be in the defense, right? So
that's a crazy concept these days. Yeah. Why aren't they just giving it out like they are everywhere?
I don't know.
You have to earn something. Rookies have to earn their keep.
Bro.
Yeah. Wild thought.
Yeah, but he would. I got MF'd quite a bit as my first year starting in the system. And they even brought in competition the next year, and I was able to win the job again, and then after that I kind of had the job solidified. Obviously in the league you still have to play well, but learned a lot with Zim and the defense, and had a lot of good years, good defensive years, a lot of good memories. So I was thankful to be there for that long.
Not to backtrack too far, but I did have a question about your UFL time. So when you're a kid growing up dreaming about playing professional ball, you think of the NFL, right? You think of the best of the best. When you're sitting there in Sacramento and you had this big dream of playing the NFL, but now you're at a league that's not quite there, was there any part of you that thought, man, this just isn't
I don't know, man. We had Flo Rida perform at halftime one game. Denzel was on the sidelines half of the game. John David
Washington.
Yeah.
He was on the team. We're hanging out with all, rubbing elbows with Denzel.
Yeah. Dez, what's up, bro?
We were basically in the NFL.
Pretty much we were best friends.
Yeah.
With Denzel.
But was there any part, because I think we always, we set out on a goal and we think it's going to go a certain way and then it doesn't. How do we respond? So I'm curious, did you ever have any moments where you're like, this isn't what I think set out to do?
Yeah, coming out of a school like Rice, you know how you stack up against the guys on your team and in your conference, right? But you didn't know how you stacked up against guys from all these big schools or guys that had just gotten released from the league. So then once I was on the Mountain Lions, and you're side by side, you're like, I can play with these guys. I'm better than these guys. And these guys just got out of the league. Like, okay, I know I can make it to the league. Yeah. I can survive and play in the league or just doing special teams. And so that gave me confidence. And then playing against that level of talent and then playing well, it gave me even more confidence. I was like, okay, I can play with these dudes. And, a lot of the coaches on the staff had a lot of ties to the NFL, and so they were like, we're going to get you an NFL job when the season's over. And so, started getting a couple calls from some scouts and stuff. So at that point, then I was like, all right, I'm going somewhere. I just don't know where yet.
I would say that was one of the coolest things about the UFL was the support and encouragement from the coaches. Because, again, it's it's either a confidence breaker or it's a confidence builder being in the UFL and those developmental leagues. And so I know Mike McDaniels was that for me. He was kind of that cheerleader, like, hey, you're going to be in the league someday. And I, in the back of my mind, was like, there's no way.
Dude,
there's no way.
He said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to play 10 years in the NFL. And I was like, no chance.
Yeah.
and it's just crazy because, like, it kind of goes to, like, you should – have more confidence in your, like, the utmost confidence in yourself and your abilities.
Yep.
And it's crazy to, like, now it's 12 years since then, right? Or 13 years, and now he's a head coach, and like, I finished out my 12-year career, and so it's so like I'm always rooting for him when he's on TV going for the Dolphins, And
I love that he's still the same guy too.
Exact same.
He's the same, like, just unapologetic, hilarious, like, he's just smarter than everybody in the room.
That's also true. So he's a little bit wittier and quicker on his feet, I feel like, at times, than all the media that are asking him questions.
All right, so 12-year career, transition out. That's, notoriously a kind of a cliche topic. Guys struggle to transition, but, having gone through this, it's a real challenge. Like, replacing that purpose of football that you've been chasing for your entire life, and then trying to fill that with something and expect kind of the same satisfaction that you'd get from working out, training, the locker room, all of the things that come with football. But what was that transition like for you? You've been out a little over a year now, right?
Yeah, it's I think for me personally, when I got to year 10, I was kind of like, okay, double digits. Like, if this is the last year, my 10th year was a little kind of crazy. I started in Philly, got released, went back to Minnesota. And so then when I went back to Minnesota, I wasn't a starter. So I'm like, okay, going into my 11th year, like, who wants an old white 11th year backup safety, right? I'm like, probably nobody. Well, it's just crazy how it works. Some of my coaches go to Cleveland, go to Cleveland for a year. Had another coach go to Indy, ended up in Indy the last year, right? But so I think I got a couple extra years that I didn't expect to get. So every year was just like a bonus. And so then, like, after my year in Indy, I was like, okay, like, that's got to be it, right? Like, surely it's done now. So I think I was kind of already mentally ready for it to be done before it was. But it's definitely just a transition, and I think when you get to be those ages, you start to kind of, in the back of your head, think about what are some other things that you're passionate about or that you want to do, because the end is near, right? Yeah. And so that's when I kind of transitioned into Braintree Nutrition, what I'm doing now.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the new company that you helped found and what you're really trying to do to improve brain health, and not just athletes, but all people.
Yeah, so I founded Braintree Nutrition along with 2 other college teammates that went to Rice with me, and in consultation with neurologists, which one of our partners, his mom is a neurologist, the whole family is doctors. So using all the studies that they have access to formulate these products, we just came up with a line of products that help to enhance and preserve and protect the brain. Because right now, I don't believe that there's good protocols in place for recovering from concussions or just constant hits to the head. A lot of times you get a concussion, they just say, all right, go sit in a dark room, no bright lights, no loud music, when there's all these other things that you can do. And so that's why we made our flagship product, which is called Think, and that is for memory and focus and anti-inflammatory properties for the brain. And then also for guys like myself, being diagnosed with like an ADD or an ADHD, the NFL is really strict on those medications being prescribed, right? So I was literally diagnosed by the team doctor that they assigned you to, and said, if you were a guy off the street, I could probably give you this, but per the NFL, I can't. You don't have a long enough history, so it makes the league look bad if they're just handing out Adderall prescriptions, right? So also we wanted to make something that helps guys with memory and focus, because as you know, you have to study a lot of it's a huge mental thing. You got to be able to react and recall. So we wanted to make something that was safe and transparent with no banned substances that we could take for ourselves, our colleagues could take, really anybody could take, and then we just tied that in with these 4 facets of kind of brain health. So focusing on the gut health and how that's linked to degenerative brain disease for the probiotic, the stress and anxiety relief, which we would, after games, you're just kind of, you need to chill out sometimes. And I think everybody could use some type of stress and anxiety relief. That's why most people at the end of the day have a little nightcap, glass of wine, beer, cocktail, whatever it is, right? And then our sleep aid product, Funny, sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep aid product, because sleep is the foundation of health, mental health, brain health, and so they all work synergistically together. They're all ingredients backed by clinical studies, proven effective at the dosages that we put them in, and that's where the doctors came in to help the ratios and everything. A lot of extracts, a lot of just natural formulas versus people taking a lot of prescription medication, trying to get off of that, get to these naturally occurring ingredients. And it's been fun, man. We donate a portion of our proceeds to Alzheimer's research.
Awesome.
And we just been, it was really just kind of made to help. We were taking all these ingredients separately and having to get like 8 different bottles of supplements, and then because we wanted that ingredient, and then we put it all together into one to formulate Braintree Nutrition.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, it's crazy. And the importance of sleep, and we're here sitting at the Sleep Number booth at the Super Bowl, but even last year learning what like Sleep Number, the focus that they have even on like cancer, like the impacts of sleep on cancer, partnering with American Cancer Society, doing studies around sleep. But I mean, there's so many facets to mental health that you mentioned, even like gut health, that 5 years ago that wasn't ever talked about, right? And so how far we've come in just the awareness, but now having like companies that are being responsible, right? And not just selling a product to selling a product, because the supplement industry is just riddled with just terrible products that people are they're great marketers, just don't make a good product. So it's great to hear that a responsible company is out there helping with this aspect.
I'm curious to know, have you gone back to the NFL with the product? Because you mentioned it earlier. Some of the players, they have ADD, they can't take the medicine. Have you had these conversations with the NFL?
Yes. Well, not with the NFL directly, but luckily I played long enough to amass a lot of contacts and friends. And so I've been, before the season, sent out goodie packages to all the boys basically. And I was like, take this, like, to help you sleep. Like, in the season, man, I got to sleep. Don't mess with my sleep. Don't mess with my studying. Like, those are like my two, those are my two things. And so obviously for me, my game was the mental part of like being ahead of the play, studying film, knowing what they're going to do. I wasn't the most athletic guy. I wasn't the biggest guy.
We had to play faster.
Yes. Yes. I was like, I have to be able to play at a 4.3 speed with my mind, right?
Yeah.
So I got to be ahead of the play. I got to already know where it's going to happen before it's going to happen. Otherwise, I have no chance out there. Like giving it to all the guys. Not everyone understands all the products, so a little bit of education. So I kind of break it down from like, this is for memory, focus, and for your brain. Just take that every day. You're getting hit in the head all the time. Just take it. And especially like some guys that got concussions this year would reach out to me, and I wouldn't even charge them. I would just send it to them. Like I could have just been like, hey, go buy it on the website, but I was like, no, I'm sending it to you guys. And so, it's been, I'm trying to help the guys out, send it to them, let them know about it. So it's been fun.
I think there's just a big hole, right? The NFL has been very transparent about, the funding that they're contributing towards, brain health and concussion research. I've been out long enough, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying I just haven't heard of any great results that have come from it yet.
Absolutely, yes.
So it'd be interesting to see, what they're doing to fill maybe the gap that you're coming in and filling.
So how do you get the product, man?
You can find us just at our website, BraintreeNutrition.com. Find us on all socials. Just search Braintree Nutrition, and then a lot of people just go on Amazon and get us. We're on Amazon Prime. You can just search Braintree Nutrition and just add it to the bag like you're doing everything else.
Right.
I think we're actually running if you go to the website, we got a little 25% off code, BTN25 at checkout. It'll be a header on there. So we got that going right now. But, check us out. Show us some love.
So if we follow that on social media, will you promise to sprinkle in some bicep shots?
I can I can do something like that. We don't have anything for nothing for the muscles right now. It's all just brain health related. So maybe somewhere down the line.
I just feel like if you have bigger biceps, just naturally you just are at ease and stress free. I feel like that could be like maybe just a regimen.
I don't know. My mom said the best thing you could do is get yourself a set of muscles.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
She said, go get yourself a set of muscles. Your life will be a little bit better.
Oh, man, that's funny. Man, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Braintree Nutrition, go check them out. I know we are. And man, anything we can do to help, man, we're here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right, brother. Enjoy your time.
Yep.
All right, I want to take a quick minute to talk about our partner, Choctaw Casino and Resort. We are really, really humbled and grateful to be a partner for them. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you've heard how great the resort is there, how great the casino is, the new expansion. They've doubled in size, 3,000 new slots. They've got unbelievable sports bar. They've got unbelievable restaurants, unbelievable movie theaters, arcades for kids. It is endless, the things that they've not only improved but added. But it's just the experience that they provide is second to none. Choctaw Nation has done an incredible job with the community, with philanthropy, with support. They have just done incredible things. So we are extremely humbled and grateful to partner with Choctaw Casino and Resort. Make sure, I know you know it, but it's just a short drive up 75. Go check them out. And now back to the episode.
We have the pleasure of repeating a guest, and repeating probably the most well-known guest that we've had on the podcast. Gary, it was such a whirlwind first one. We had some internet issues.
I remember.
But appreciate you coming back on.
So
we were
happy
able
to be on with you guys.
Link up. All right, so we are at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And first and foremost, I guess we got to talk about it, right?
Yes.
So what happened? What happened with the Jets? I mean, we were so hopeful that they were not going to be the Jets.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, they lost their way. Look, the Elijah Vera Tucker, Breece Hall situation was a big deal. Like I don't think people really understand the Broncos win, the Packers win. Elijah Vera Tucker played 3 different positions for the Jets on that offensive line. We were completely lost in the Zach Wilson struggles. Was our offensive line injury count was at the top of the league. We were on our 4th left tackle by week 3. So we really, really got decimated there. But the second Breece went out, he was such a dynamic player. He had 2 50-plus yard touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. It just changed our offense. It made us more one-dimensional. And, you guys know this. Like, some seasons, they just get away from you. Like, we weren't there. Like, we just weren't there anymore.
So what was your what did you think going into the season? Where did you think they were going to land anyway?
I did 100 different podcasts where I said that they were going to be 7-10, and so, my friends were making fun of me at some point, and then obviously it played out the way it did. I really was hoping that it was going to be a building year.
Yeah.
They were so young. You couldn't have expected what Garrett and Sauce gave you in year one.
Yeah.
And again, you guys know this. I'm too logical and passionate about this. So I'm like, okay, those guys in year 2 are going to put 15 pounds of muscle on because they're both thin dudes.
Right, right.
And I was like, that might be a little bit problem. Will Garrett be able to separate? Those guys played so over our expectations, so it quickly revved up. But I was pretty realistic going into the season. I thought 7-10 would be just fine. The schedule was tough. The AFC West was
that division. Well, you thought it was going to be
correct. So things like that. But I think that it played out with a bitter taste in the end, given how well, especially after that Buffalo home win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I drove home to New York, but I could have walked home after that game. That's how happy I was. So, honestly, I'm pretty optimistic. I think if you're a really, really educated football fan, and I'm very proud that I think I am, they're very close on defense. They've got a couple tweaks at linebacker that they have to think about, a little bit at safety, but their defense is scary close.
Yeah.
Scary close.
Yeah.
Becton comes back, hopefully. Now, it's been 2 seasons, so you can't guarantee it, but his rookie year was bananas.
Yeah.
He was throwing guys all over. He was throwing Bosa to left field. I mean, it was crazy his rookie year. So you hope, but that's a 50-50.
Yeah.
But Elijah Vera Tucker will be back.
Yeah.
Breece Hall will be back. They've proven last year that they can draft really strong.
Yeah.
You get another good draft. They have plenty of cap money. Corey Davis, who I love, they're going to have to think about, but that's $10 million that they have off the board. So you got DJ Reed and Sauce locked in at corner. You got Garrett Wilson. They just need one more strong offseason, and then it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Will they bring in a quarterback who also not only contributes, but contributes off the field to actually caring about Zach Wilson's development is actually the question that I think the Jets have to think about the most.
Yeah. Right.
Which is, I think it's insane to give up on Zach after 24 months. I think it's insane.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think you're exactly right foundationally. I think this year was great because you gave them experience. They knew that they could play with the best.
Correct.
And then now they've got the talent. We know that there's talent. There's a couple pieces every year they've got to work. But Zach Wilson,
yes,
as an entrepreneur,
yes,
as you're thinking through building people up,
yes,
at what point do you say, okay, the time, it's enough. We've got to move on. That's one of the hardest things to figure out.
Every leader's biggest, most challenging decision is when they decide to give up on someone.
Yeah.
Every leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The government, family,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, sports. It is the punchline. The Jets gave up on Geno Smith. He was productive this year.
Yeah.
The Jets gave up on Sam Darnold. I think for a lot of people, if you're very nerdy about this sport, would argue this was a good year for Sam. Like, there was things you could see, right? Obviously, it wasn't a remarkable year, but it wasn't like you can't play in this league.
Yeah.
I just think Terry Bradshaw really sucked in his first several years, and he sat.
Yeah.
So I just think the way the world works now, I remind people Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. Like, I just don't,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
right? You forget real quick, right? What's interesting, Aaron Rodgers sat for multiple years.
Yeah.
I know why it happens. Again, if you're listening, get into the nerdiness. This league runs on a quarterback's rookie contract.
Yeah.
It's so much less money against the cap, so they're rushing these kids because they want to maximize all of year 3, 4, and 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to strike.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's right, and it doesn't mean that the kid can't play.
Yeah.
I also think Zach hitting actual rock bottom, because he hit actual rock bottom,
I agree.
is one of the scenarios that actually allows him to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because now he's at the crossroads. He wasn't kind of rock bottom. He's hit rock bottom.
Yeah, but he hit rock bottom in New York.
Which is
like, you
hard.
hit rock bottom, in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Okay, but you hit rock bottom in New York in that locker room. Can he recover from that? That's going to be the question.
He might not.
Yeah.
He might not. He might.
Yeah.
And so I think, to me, if I'm the owner, the GM, the coach of the Jets, the conversation they're having this week, and they're really starting to lock in what they're going to do, is going to come down to, of the 5 options we have here, Jimmy, Derek, Aaron, even Tannenhill, I think, is probably available. Like, in the options that are here, A, what's the cost? Because is Aaron better than Derek if Aaron costs you 3 top picks versus Derek costs you a 2nd and a 4th? Like, what's the punchline there? And 2, do any of them have the human capacity to give any care towards Zach and help him in any shape or form?
Yeah.
Because if Aaron is over the top excited of, like, this kid grew up idolizing me, I'm already 40. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 here. But if I can build this kid up, that means something to me. Well, it becomes more interesting. If he's like, I don't care, it's merit. It's we're out in the wild here, Zach. You figure it out. Then he should be less interesting to the Jets.
Right.
I agree. I agree. And I think that 2 of the 3 that you mentioned, I know personally, and those are those dudes. I don't know Aaron, so I can't vouch for that. But I agree. It's who has the human capacity to say, look, this is part of my legacy, is building this guy up to do something great. If he has potential with the organization. Running short on time.
I was just saying, Darren, how long did you work at ESPN?
13 years.
Okay, in 6 minutes, I learned more about football from him than I did in 13 years.
That's a lie.
At
That's a lie.
I'm in.
Hey, watch your mouth, Ben.
I did.
Watch your mouth, Ben.
I know we got to let you go. I did want to ask you about the business side.
Yes.
You're a business guy.
I am.
So what is the NFL from a business, not the sport, from a business? How are they dominating the world? I mean, their numbers are way bigger than any other sports. How are they doing that, just as a business?
Limited games.
Yeah.
Guys, the NFL.
The novelty of it.
The NFL's secret is the secret of soccer. The reason soccer crushes around the world is there's no playoffs. Whoever wins the season, thus rendering every game to matter.
Yes.
Every single. I'm a huge Knicks fan. When Knicks lose 3 games in a row, I'm like perturbed, but like would like to see them turn around. But it's not like when the Jets lose a football game in week 1. I'm like, this is going to hurt us in the playoff run. Like, every game is a playoff game. So the NFL dominates as a business because everybody wants to watch every single snap. Not to mention now betting, not to mention fantasy sports, even taking those things out of the equation, which make people watch more. And it's a great sport for both fantasy and gambling. It's also that it's the playoffs every single week.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's also a sport that has injuries at a high level.
High risk,
Which is different than basketball and baseball and hockey, which means not only is every game a playoff game, but every play within a game is a season-changing opportunity. Your quarterback's out for the year, right? The season's this game that's happening tomorrow is a different game if Patrick Mahomes didn't have a high ankle sprain.
Right.
It's a completely different football game. That was one snap in one place. So I think the intensity of everything mattering makes it dominant, and the business is because the owners are good businessmen.
I love it.
Like, that's just the punchline. When you look at the makeup of when you think about what Stephen Ross is or Robert Kraft, these are just good business operators.
And you're going to be one of those.
Yeah,
I'm going to be one of those.
So if it's not the Jets,
Yes.
Are you?
I'll buy a basketball team.
You buy a basketball.
I don't want.
It's
Jets or bust for me because my love for the Jets is on a different planet.
Yeah.
I could buy the Pelicans. I could buy the Bucks.
Yeah.
I can't buy the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basketball's.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Hey, appreciate it.
Take care.
Appreciate you.